Let me just cut straight to it. The reason why, honestly, probably more than 90% of Instagram strategies just do not work is because they never actually get implemented. Let me explain. So you're feeling excited about diving back into that Instagram account that's been gathering dust again, and you start to build out a strategy for it. You watch a bunch of advice videos on YouTube and listen to podcasts, and you cobble together a strategy based on the viral tips and advice that you've heard gurus say in videos. You decide that you're gonna spend an hour a day, every day, engaging in relevant hashtags, and you're gonna post 2 reels a day. The gurus say that you are guaranteed to blow up that way. But then, unsurprisingly, a mere 2 days later, you're already exhausted by the endless commenting and you're out of ideas for making new reels. So, you quit. And in all fairness, I would quit too. That sounds exhausting. And herein lies the issue with almost all Instagram strategies floating around out there on the internet. They are just way too ambitious and don't take into consideration what is actually realistic for real content creators to do, and also what audiences actually want to see. In this video, I'm going to talk you through 3 very important questions that you need to ask yourself to actually craft an Instagram strategy that is going to work for you and not only help you grow, but also be sustainable and something that you can stick with in the long term, which is what you're going to have to do if you want to see real results. Question number 1. What do you actually like to make? We gotta start here because if you don't actually enjoy making the content that you're planning on your strategy, you're never gonna actually make it. I really believe that being consistent on Instagram, which is something so many creators struggle with, is really all about habit building, turning content creation into a habit and a routine for yourself. A while back, I read this amazing book about habit development called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a classic in the personal development space on YouTube, so you've probably heard about it at this point, but I think the messages in it actually can teach us a lot about how to be consistent content creators. In the book, James Clear describes one of the methods of habit building as basically making a habit so easy that it's almost harder to not do it than it would be to just follow through on this task or this habit, this routine that you're trying to build. So the example that he gives in the book is like, let's say you're trying to work out for 30 minutes a day. Well, that is obviously harder than just not doing it. So to kind of build up to that, James Clear suggests that you set yourself a habit of working out for 5 minutes a day. And you tell yourself you can only do it for 5 minutes. You're not allowed to do a longer than 5-minute workout. So you start building up this habit, you get your workout clothes on, you do your 5-minute exercise, and then you say, okay, I have to stop now. Doing a 5-minute exercise, that's pretty easy. Most of us can find like 5 minutes in the day, right? But the psychology behind this is then once you start doing that 5-minute workout, you're there, you're like, okay, I've got my yoga mat out, I've got all of my exercise like gear on, I might as well just do it for longer. And so eventually you just kind of automatically build up to hitting that 30-minute goal that you originally had. So we can use the same principle and apply it to content creation by finding ways to make content creation easier for us. Because if you make creating content for Instagram really easy, then eventually you're gonna just do it rather than not because you've made it really easy for yourself. And one of the ways that you can make content creation easier for yourself is choosing to make content that you just really genuinely like. So part of that is obviously gonna be picking a niche that you enjoy, like making sure that the subject matter that you're talking about is something that you're passionate about. And I think that's probably the case for most of content creators because you would have started doing this probably because of a certain subject that you wanna talk about. But then it's also picking formats that you enjoy, picking types of content that you like to make. If you love photos, post photos. If you love writing, maybe think about how you can create long, engaging captions or even translate that into a graphic carousel with lots of text. If you love visuals and you love graphic design, then make beautiful memes or shareable quote graphics. This part of the process doesn't mean that you'll never ever create something that you don't like to make. Sometimes we have to do that in order to grow. Sometimes we have to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. But it does mean that in this philosophy of Instagram strategy development, you're gonna make sure that the majority of your content is types of content that you like to make because it's going to make content creation easier for you. Question number 2, what kind of content performs well for you with your audience. I feel like this is the main area of concern for a lot of people when they're crafting an Instagram strategy, sometimes to the point where you're focused too much on what the algorithm wants. I think that's the problem with a lot of the types of strategies that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that it's all just focused on what would be the ideal for growth. Sure, would posting 2 reels a day be great for growth? Like, yeah, I think it would be, but again, not sustainable. So it's important to remember that within the framework of the sustainable Instagram strategy, the idea of what performs well with your audience, with the algorithm, they're kind of the same thing. That's only 1/3 of what you need to be thinking about. But obviously, it is an important component. Again, another mindset shift that's important when you're considering, okay, what performs well, what's gonna get the reach, the engagement, all of that stuff. You need to know that it's quite individual. I think a lot of people think about it as like, this type of thing works on Instagram. And there are some blanket statements that we can make like that. But for the most part, the kind of content that's gonna perform well for you is very unique and individual to your niche and to who's following you, because there's all kinds of different people on Instagram. Everyone's audience is different. So make sure that you're thinking about what works for you, not just what works in general. So the best thing that you can do is really look for audience feedback. And the easiest way to do that is in the form of your insights. Take a look at your Instagram insights, look at what is performing the best for you, and make sure that you check out what works in terms of reach, and then also in terms of post interactions, and also in terms of followers, because you might notice some important differences there, and you might start to realize that different types of posts perform different functions in your strategy. So speaking in practical terms here for a minute, let's say when we go through the first question, what you love to make, you've determined that you really love to post photos with long captions. But maybe when you go into your insights, you realize that actually, like, okay, my reels just are actually getting the most reach. That seems to be working the best for me. You want to take that into consideration, and it doesn't mean you're not going to post any more photos, because it's important to post what you love, but you might consider doing a strategy where half of the content you make is photos and half of the content that you make is reels, if that's the outcome that you find. But like I said, very important to look into your specific insights and see what your actual audience likes, not just what, like, you know, gurus online are telling you that your audience will like. You got to look at your own numbers. Question number 3, what do you actually have time for? Even though this is the last question, it probably is the most important, because like I was saying at the beginning of the video, at the end of the day, you can make all these grand plans, you can have this beautiful content strategy and an amazing organized content calendar, but if you don't actually have the time in your week or in your month to create all of that, it's not going to amount to anything, right? It only counts once it's actually posted out there on Instagram. That's when it can do its work for you. So if you don't actually have time to make 5 posts for Instagram a week, then don't make your Instagram strategy include 5 posts a week. And it's important to think honestly about where in your week or day or month you're actually going to fit this content creation time. If you already feel super busy, then you need to think about maybe what you're going to take out of your schedule in order to put content creation in. I think it's all about priorities and organization and scheduling and being realistic about how much energy you actually have to put towards this. Everybody's going to be at a different point with this. Maybe you just have an hour, maybe you have 2 hours a week. That's obviously going to have an impact on how much content that you're able to make. And yes, sure, the more content that you can make, probably the faster progress that you'll see in terms of growth, but that doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile starting with just 1 post a week and building up that habit and practicing creating content, because the more Instagram content that you make, the more efficient you'll become with it and the more you'll be able to make in the same amount of time that you've been dedicating. So I think just be honest with yourself about how much time that you have to dedicate to content creation, and then commit to that, and then design your Instagram strategy around that. So if you follow me on Instagram, then by now you might have realized that this video is based on my sustainable Instagram strategy planner. It's my whole philosophy around developing an Instagram strategy that is actually going to work for you and your lifestyle and help you grow. So if you want to get my free sustainable Instagram strategy planner, I've got it linked in the description so you can check it out. But I also wanted to let you know that if you do download the free planner and you scroll to the bottom, then you'll see a super special secret announcement there about something that I have coming out on Monday, which I can't believe that it's already almost here. But anyway, make sure you stay tuned. If you sign up for the Sustainable Instagram Strategy Planner, you'll be the first to hear about this new exciting announcement. So make sure that you check that out. If you have guesses of what I'm announcing, then let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I will check in with you next week and make the announcement here on my YouTube channel. So make sure you stay tuned. Really, I think it's just so important that you consider all three of these questions: what you love to make, what performs well with your audience, and what you actually have time for when it comes to designing an Instagram strategy that's really gonna work for you. So don't just take cookie cutter strategies that you find online and try to make them fit your life. Take the time, use my free planner, and really plan out the best strategy for you. And remember that Instagram is the long game. It's all about putting together a plan and a routine that you can execute on for months and years to come, because it takes time to see real, authentic, and organic growth. To learn about what I think is the most important component in Instagram growth, and check out this video next. Trust me, it's not Reels. It's so much more than that. So make sure that you watch that if you're serious about growing your community on Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.